I don't know about you, but if you are a marketer, been a marketer, work with a marketer, one of the most triggering things you can hear is, what's the ROI? And the reason it's triggering sometimes is because everyone has a different definition or standard or understanding of how they anchor the value of ROI. For those who don't know, for those who need a refresher or thinking ROI means a total different thing in total different industries, return on investment. I've also heard some people say and return on impact, which I also think is very interesting as well, but I digress. When I'm thinking about ROI, another reason why sometimes it's triggering for marketers is that, oh no, that's a sales team. That's not marketing. I'm all about awareness. I'm all about nurturing. It's almost like hunters and farmers. Oh, no. We don't do the hunting. We are the farmers. We are the ones who grow from the ground and nurture. We don't do the hunting. That's sales team. That's what the sales team does. And I find as things have evolved in our economy, as things have evolved on the demands of certain roles and expectations and how organizations are defined and maintained and ops and all those things, the line between sales and marketing outside of the obvious is getting shorter and shorter, where we need T's, U's, V's. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know, you might need to go a few episodes back or talk about T-shape and U-shape marketers, but I digress. And it's a little bit more nuanced to this. I always find, and I never got this perspective until I became a CMO, and at times where I had to work in tandem with a sales executive, where it can be frustrating on the sales team that they're speaking a certain language and trying to define to get their numbers up, and marketers like, this is my lane, this is what I'm supposed to do. You gotta do your job better. I'm good at my job. But if both would work together and talk to each other, things would be a lot easier. Leverage language to launch, finding that equilibrium of things. And the most common thing I find is that they don't know how to measure results. We all have a different definition of what ROI means to us. That is our Bible. That is our law. This is what we hold dear. Either come up or don't. More to-dos, less time. More to-dos, less time. And an infinite number of tools to keep track of. Doing business has never felt harder, more complicated, more exhausting than it's ever been. But you don't need a miracle to hit your goals. You just need HubSpot. Because they're all on one customer platform can make growing your business infinitely easier. Imagine this: high quality leads, fast closing deals, wildly happy customers, and more benchmark breaking quarters. No, my friends, it's not a miracle. It is HubSpot. Convert your dream into reality and vision into actualization and marketing into money. Visit HubSpot.com to get started today. Or we, unfortunately, reverse engineer that and use that against other groups because our ROI is this, your ROI is that. Our ROI is more praised, is more secure, is more highlighted in the reports, in the town halls and the weekly meetings and the roundups, and it's just back and forth all over the place. And I find let's just bring it down. So here are some things to consider when measuring your results. And if you've ever bought my book, Strategize Up, you would turn to page 63 and you would see this very list as well. Financial metrics, acquisition numbers, profitability, brand loyalty, net profit margins, social buzz, revenue, brand awareness, growth rate, consumer metrics, cost to acquire/retain, brand relevance, return on ad spend or ROAS, brand perception, value, strength metrics, emotional connection, and retention numbers. When I'm trying to define how do I measure my results, these are the things that typically come to mind that no matter what you call it, tomatoes, is going to fit into one of these categories. The problem now is when you list it all down, connect the dots, connect the nodes to make sure everyone has a complete understanding of what we're doing and how does this all work.
What's up, digital world? You're listening to the I Digress audio experience with Troy Sandidge. Social media, marketing, storytelling, business, culture, and more. Coming to you in 3, 2, 1.
If you go back to episode 54 of the I Digress podcast experience, where we talk about the blame game, marketing versus sales, which is responsible for growth, I think that episode pairs really well with this episode. Because as I always try to talk about marketing and sales relationship, the right fist and the left fist in a boxing ring, how do we make sure that sales put some respect on marketing, marketing puts some respect on sales, they are both loved and respected and utilized equally and measured equally and on the same parameters equally? And how does that navigate? Now, you have marketers who be saying, sales, they get all the bells and whistles plus commission on top of a base because of what they're doing, because of my job, but I'm a set. I don't get the commission. I don't get the incentives. I don't get these things. So I want numbers and metrics. But then other marketers like, no, I don't want that stress. I don't want that problems. I want a steady base and focus on my lane. And you know what? Honestly, this feels like the longest back and forth tennis match ever. Sometimes it's not about the literal title of the marketer or the salesperson. It's the type of people you put in those roles. Now, most people lean in on a salesperson that is a type A, that has all the confidence, that can just go in and go get it. But sometimes you need a salesperson a little more suave, a little more chill, refined swagger with intentionalism, where those same archetypes can be very successful on the marketing side. I really think it's about who in which you hire for those roles and not just living off of the stereotypicalness of the roles themselves. Digital marketers, this one's for you. I've got 30 seconds to tell you about Wix Studio, the web platform for agencies and enterprises. So here are a few things you can do in 30 seconds or less when you manage projects on Wix Studio. Work in sync with your team on one canvas. Reuse templates, widgets, and sections across sites. Create a client kit for seamless handovers and leverage best-in-class SEO defaults across all your Wix sites. Looks like time's up, but the list keeps going. Step into Wix Studio to see more. Visit wix.com/studio today. I remember I had just got hired in a head of marketing role the same day this head of sales role started. And we both had different approaches to getting our bearings on our job. But I noticed relatively quickly the CEO would have way more conversations with the head of sales than they would the head of marketing. And when I talked with the head of sales, he was always stressed and he was saying they just want numbers. They just want leads. They want leads. They want leads. They want leads. They want leads. And they're just pushing this person basically become a call center. Call, cold email, go to events, pitch all day. I need you to do these amount of numbers per day, per week, per month, and we should be getting this amount of increase coming in the door and things like that. And they were just running and gunning. But the conversation would be so different with me because it was like, ooh, let's have these ideas. Let's have these experiences. And I picked up on that and I then transferred some of that energy to the head of sales and I was like, hey, how can we help each other? Because it seems like they're putting you in such a stress-induced environment where they're not saying, hey, what ideas can we come up with to drive leads? Instead of just knocking on doors all day, can we create something that would just attract people in the groves and we can qualify in a safer, less stressed environment? And this is where I think marketing and sales really should work together and working hand in hand. And I think in most cases, the CEO should have most meetings with both sales and marketing in the room. One of the worst things in the world, as social media marketers would know, is that everyone else has made a decision on how a campaign should work, should go, should perform and do things. And then they just throw it on the social media team to create and run with it without considering their input in the viability, in the execution, and the output, and the set standard expectations from this campaign. What budget? What creative? What platform? No, they just say, here, do this. In the same way, I find that marketers may have all these ideas and all this time to free think and modify and organize and output, but I'm just going to keep it 100. Sometimes we have a blind side to how this would help sales. We don't have to be like, hey, I'm going to do my job, you do your job, good luck. I think of it, and this is the best way I know how to talk in the analogy form on this. Maybe because I'm inspired by the Olympics, but I digress. Marketing's job is to make sure the baton is passed smoothly to sales. And it doesn't stop there. Sales' job, once it closes, is to pass the baton smoothly to customer success. And then customer success pass the baton smoothly back to marketing, because you don't just have one pass of a potential client or customer. You can have multiple passes once they become the customer in nurturing and helping them become an advocate or a repeatable buyer or an elevator of other things as well. And if marketing and sales in particular would just do their jobs and make sure we have a clean transfer back and forth to support, to nurture, to close, to re-engage, we can do this thing. We can balance this thing. Without marketing and sales, nothing happens. You don't have a business. You don't stay in business. Marketing should not be the first to go. And you know what? I really get tired of the fact that people put some respect on sales and say, not everybody can do sales. Let me tell you this, not everybody can do marketing either. I get so tired where people just think marketing, they put it under the same umbrella of, oh, it's just social posts and putting some videos out. I can do that. And yet and still, how much money do people pay for ads? How much money do people pay for influencer marketing? How much money do people invest in high-level video recording and creation or research analysis output? Because there's so much competition, you need the best of the best in their fields to land and connect, to engage with the human psyche, to compel people to buy. And that's all marketing. No, not everybody can be a marketer. Ooh, you watched one video, you took one course, and you're like, yep, I can do marketing. I understand it's so gosh darn easy. And it's not. Especially when you're trying to be on Olympic level gold, level marketing initiatives. No, it is not for the faint of heart. Just as people gradually say, I can't do sales. Well, a lot of folk who try to do marketing fail at marketing because they can't do marketing because they don't know marketing. And to all you marketers out there, keep on trucking, keep on moving, keep on going, because whether you get the respect that you need or not, you're the people moving things forward. I remember I was rewatching This Is Us, and for those who know I love This Is Us, William Heel, played by Ron Cephas Jones, who is the father of Randall, the scene where he talks to Beth, and he says, Beth, you're the bass. Yes, the trumpet may get all the glory and the attention, but real musicians know it's the bass that keeps the foundation, keeps you on key, keeps the flow. No matter how many riffs and change hands, the bass is the consistent pulse that keeps everything together. Marketers, I challenge you in this moment, as much as you may have so much stress and you may be feeling underwhelmed or overwhelmed, or you may be feeling I don't get enough attention or respect, that RESPECT, you are the bass. Sales may be the trumpet. They get all the attention. They play the siren like we're in the car dealership every time a sale gets hit. But marketing made the bridge. They made the assist. They were the glue person. They made it work. They brought us the chip. All the things that aren't in the stat sheet. We're the base. We're the flow that keeps things going. Literally the blood flow of the whole organization. Because when marketing is at its top of its game, it's speaking to every department and making sure that it's reflected in their output of attraction, to garnish attention, to garnish awareness, to drive action, to set up the stage to keep it warm for the sales team to go and finish the job. Are you an aspiring entrepreneur or business-savvy individual ready to take matters into your own hands? Imagine starting a new venture with low startup costs, entering a growing market, and having the opportunity to shape your own future. Picture that you're at the helm of a successful delivery business, partnering with one of the world's most prominent companies, Amazon, through their Amazon Delivery Service program. They are searching for hands-on leaders with grit and determination, people who are ready to hire, coach, and motivate a top-notch team of delivery associates. Maybe people like you. And here's the thing, you don't need logistics experience. You'll gain access to exclusive deals, services, training, business coaching, and state-of-the-art technology. As you launch and grow your business, you'll have the support of Amazon's team at every step. So, are you ready to build the future of delivery and embark on a rewarding journey with the Amazon Delivery Service Partner Program? Learn more and apply right now by going to amazon.com/radio. That's amazon.com/radio. And you can also click on the link in the show notes as well. Take the first step toward a brighter future today. While all this is happening, salespeople, you need to learn marketing. We need to learn each other's language and find common ground. If we spend more time to understand each other, we'd have a more robust marketing ops, sales op collective system in place that actually will work a lot better per all the people who are hired and working their individual roles. When sales can understand marketing, and when marketing listens to what sales has discovered, hey, this story might need to be modified slightly because when we had the conversation, there was some confusion on XYZ. And if we can refine that at the beginning over here, we won't have this question asked as much. Will it save us time to actually help us close the deal? Thank you for that information. I wouldn't have had that context because I'm so focused on awareness and passing the baton. I may not be cognizant of looking at how far and how well and how consistent that baton is flowing once I pass it to them. We need to make sure that we're speaking on the end results of both sides of the coin to make sure that, hey, if I do my job well, and if sales do their job well, and if we are both successful, we all win. If I do my job well and that person doesn't, or vice versa, we're still going to lose. There needs to be balance. This is where I challenge both marketers and salespeople to learn from each other and stop saying, oh, that's not my job. Oh, I don't need to know that. I don't need to learn that. One of the biggest things that compels me to want to challenge where marketing can go is seeing all of the people who are using outdated marketing information, almost to a point where there's these unwritten ghost rules that people have followed for years that have been outdated for years beyond that, and we are just far behind in the information pool to adapt and update ourselves. Maybe that's why you're listening to this podcast, hoping that, Troy, can you keep me in the loop of what's going on? Tell me what you see, tell me what you hear. And most times in our community, we're like that. We go to these events and we're asking, hey, what are you seeing? What are you acknowledging? What are you learning about? What new things do I need to know? How do I better incorporate AI? How's the marketplace going for this or that? And it doesn't matter if you're B2B, if you're SaaS, if you're tech, if you're D2C, gov, politics, news, media, consumer goods, whatever the case might be. At the core of marketing that will never change is the psychology and the behavior science of it all. Do we really understand consumer psychology at its core? 1. 2, is what we're saying and the manner of how we're saying it, where we're saying it, to whom and why connects in a way that drives an urgency to learn more, to do more, and take action. And 3rd, are we building something beyond the product, the service, or offering that people can galvanize behind, which ultimately is community? Show me one brand that is super duper successful that doesn't have community. You need community to keep people contained in that space and really relish in what the product, the service, the offering provides. Community adds additional value to what you're offering, and it keeps everyone in this incubator of, we love this experience, this product, this service, and it's that constant check-in piece. So psychology, language, value, and community ultimately are those 4 pillars. Mistakes That Made Me, hosted by Iman Ishmael, is brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. Mistakes That Made Me is the podcast that asks extraordinary business owners to share their biggest business mistakes so you know what not to do on your road to success. Join Iman as she chats with some of the smartest minds in business about how to push through failure, adversity, and challenges and accept it as an important and necessary part of building a prominent business. Because as it turns out, your biggest business mistakes often lead to your biggest lessons that then convert into your biggest blessings. Listen to mistakes that made me wherever you get your podcasts. And from that, you deviate into experiential, the UX UI when it comes to websites or an app, or just full experience when it comes to events, webinars, live events, social communication when it comes to nurturing an email and all those different things, SMS, the fundamentals. Because at the end of the day, when MySpace was a thing, and it's no longer a thing. When Facebook is still a thing, but it's deteriorating as a thing. When Twitter was at its peak, and now it's called X, but still kind of a thing, but not a thing. When Threads is sort of a thing, but hasn't taken off like Twitter in a way, like a thing, but we're there. Going from Vine, rest in peace, to now TikTok, with other platforms trying to come into the mix. Clubhouse is trying to make a comeback. AirChat is here. Don't know how much traction it's getting. All these different platforms come into play. Doesn't change the fact that you still need to be really good at email. Doesn't change the fact that you still need a third-party communication piece to really nurture. Doesn't change the fact that you will forever be doing a 60-40 split minimum on new buyers and potential customers and pitching, communicating with existing and old buyers and customers. The how and the where and the when changes constantly. But the what of value is securely the same as long as you create the level of value needed for people to take action. I struggle sometimes as a marketer, though, because it's not so much I don't know what to do. It's the demand of having to do 1,000,001 things to penetrate a new market when the research hasn't been done all the way, when the product itself hasn't been defined to its archetypes all the way, when the go-to market strategy is not as good as it should be. And for ironically, many times the go-to market strategy really isn't given marketing justice when it's done. It's mostly constructed by the executive team and some sales counterparts, many times without even considering marketing's input. Imagine if we just brought everyone to the table before launching a product. And we had everyone to analyze, what do you see, what you don't see in this product, like the literal creation of the product. If I thought before I created something, how would I market this thing? It might add additional value points on how would I construct it, what benefits and features is needed to really position itself in the right marketplace. From a marketing perspective or a sales perspective, it needs to be total around this cost to be competitive. And then you go from a source ops perspective, these are the components that bring you the highest value, but meets the cost needed to bring us the highest amount of profitability and sustainability in what we're trying to offer. Then if you look at the brand part of it, these colors resonate better than those colors. So that may be a different cost, or the mode or the design to be more fluid or more symmetrical or more curvy, or if the case might be, may require different cost analysis, different materials to incorporate. If we just had everyone at the table, things would be so much easier to move things forward. And branching out and getting back to our point, with marketing and sales, and how do we make sure that we have the most optimal product service offering experience, maximizing the gift and talent and abilities of our marketing team and our sales team to drive ROI. As we've talked about, is not so much push ROI. What does it mean? Break it down and make sure everyone aligns on it. Every group may have their own sub-language, but when it comes to our bigger meetings, let's unify the language in which we use to define success and how we're going to do that. We all could be looking at the exact same data and interpret that thing 1,000,001 ways. That is not the best course of action when it comes to business, especially successful businesses. So I'm challenging you to consider these things and how do we move this forward. This episode was meant to give you consideration of thought. Is how I'm conducting my marketing, and as if how I'm navigating my sales, and as if how I'm moving and shaking in these conversations with marketing and sales, a lot of what I need to do to be our most successful self. It's unfortunate to see so many marketers be unemployed, but at the same time, I've seen so many salespeople be unemployed. Because, in part, we set an ROI standard, and then we set an expectation date. And no one modifies and adjusts that date compared to what they're seeing in the marketplace and the experiences that they're having. There's so many variables outside of anyone's control because we didn't hit a 22% upstream for this quarter, and we might have gotten an 18% with an asterisk because projectably we would have surpassed that number, but this happened outside of our control. That happened outside of control. Is that a failure? We need to modify and adjust our budget, our ops, and what we're doing accordingly to what we're seeing, and making sure that our sales team and the marketing team on the front lines is communicating back to the generals, to the executives in the back end, making sure that they're not just guiding off a roadmap, they're guiding off a GPS, that these things are changing constantly. Therefore, we need to modify and change our expectations. I'm sick and tired of holding both parties to a ridiculous high standard because you pitch to your stakeholders or your investors that you could get this window done at this level of merit at this time window, and it doesn't even come close. And so then you double down and push even more on the sales and marketing team in the hopes that they will close the gap and compensate for the mismanagement or misalignment of expectations in the pitch deck. We've set a roadmap, but we're not moving this thing through a GPS. And I always say, build the GPS. It's going to make everyone a lot better, a lot more transparent, easier to pivot. We're not going off of January numbers in August. We're going off of August numbers in August. This is the way. This is the plan. This is how we're going to move and navigate accordingly now. Making those adjustments is going to be critical in your expansion of how you grow and how you move things forward. Let's bring marketing and sales together. Let's make sure each group has what they need. Each group is communicating with each other. Each group has an understanding of the expectations and the flow, and that everyone beyond marketing and sales puts respect on their names. And we all have a better understanding of what ROI needs to be and the timeline and the manner in which we're going to do it, what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it means in the data. What are the indicator lights that we're moving in the right direction? What are the indicator lights we're moving in the wrong direction? And do we have a pivot plan to not just cut people off, but adjust to the talent that we have to what we need to do accordingly? That's what makes really good marketing teams and sales teams. And honestly, that's what makes good executive leadership teams, and that's what makes great businesses. Those who understand how to delegate down and empower up. Those who understand the relationship of marketing and sales, operate that in the best way possible to get the most ultimate level of success with the least amount of strain and stress. Do you have that in your organization? Do you need that in your organization? Well, your homeboy is here to help. If you need to, ping me, troy@findtroy.com. Send me a ping. We'll see if he aligns in consulting or advisory perspective. But beyond that, make sure that your marketing team has the help that they need, the sales team have the help that they need, and that everyone together is communicating in the best possible way. All operating under a defined ROI that makes sense to everybody, not just somebody, not just in the head of the CEO and nobody else. We have defined ROI perspectives, metrics, OKRs, KPIs for everyone to understand and move things in the right way. It's the only way and it's the best way possible with the highest success rate if you do those things and get that in alignment. It may feel like a lot of deep work at the beginning, but it's going to pay off at the end.
And that's a wrap. We hope you enjoyed this episode of I Digress. What was your takeaway? Care to share your thoughts and tag Troy on social media? You can find him on all platforms at Find Troy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review or comment for this episode from wherever you're listening. Looking for a marketing strategist to build the structure, strategies, and systems you need to get the success you want and the ROI you desire in your business? Book a discovery call to talk with Troy at findtroy.com. And as Troy's philosophy goes, imagination is the engine, content is the fuel, social media is the highway, marketing is the roadmap, sales is the destination, culture is the GPS. Thanks for listening.